Hey guys, so I wanted to start off this video by apologizing that we haven't done a video in a very long time. I've literally just got back from a week in Singapore on a business trip, so yeah, we're all very busy. But Microsoft Showcase was literally last weekend, and I can't wait to break down just the most important part of the event, which is obviously Starfield. 45 minutes of brand new content and more details on content we have been shown already. Needless to say, like my old video, I am hyped as a cat on catnip. I don't know why I chose that analogy, but it gets the point across. I decided to take in the content of the event and then compare the stuff that I talked about in my last video to see what predictions I got correct and to add to more of the information that was released back then. My first point that I mentioned is the world is made for the player, and Starfield Direct delivered on that same theme. The world is so much bigger than we realise. We were told that there were over 1,000 planets, and all of these are within their own solar system, some of which are inhabited and some aren't, but are still inhabited by local wildlife, one of which is called a brain sprout.
I love, but some people might find creepy. I don't know.
The ones that are inhabited by people are spread across all of the factions, and each faction is in a solar system that suits them the most, so it's not like they're placed randomly. Some planets have scientific outposts of people that need your help, and these random encounters are randomly generated. Similarly to Skyrim, every time you touch down on a planet, even if it's the same one that your friend has landed on, no one experience will be the same. I'm hoping this isn't the case for every time you touch down on a planet in the same place you have landed before, and there is some form of continuity, but I'm sure it'll be fine. There was some more info released on base building, and people who like the base building in Fallout can build the base from their first person point of view. Honestly, I don't know why you would prefer this, but from what I have already seen, there is an over-the-top view to build your base, which I like, but it's good that they have brought some of their old mechanics from previous games into the new generation. We have been told that outposts are homes away from home. They advertise your spaceship being your main home, but I think I'll try to make an effort to go back to my outposts so that they feel more like the main base of operations. If you find a planet with a resource that you need lots of, or that is rare, you can set up extractors that will work whilst you're away on missions, so you can come back to your outposts and collect the resources. We've been told this already, but you can also mine on planets that you visit on your ship. You can hire crew and designate some of your companions to your outposts for more bonuses, probably similar to extra resource gathering or research. I'm not one personally to go into the finer details of base building, like some of my friends, so I'm hoping that there is a default layout that comes with the buildings that you place and create and connect them to your outpost, so you don't have to go through the effort of making the space look nice, otherwise my base would look like a pile of trash and have the bare minimum in it. We got even more information on how spaceships work, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I can happily say that one of my predictions was correct, to say that we can design our ships to have a lot of cargo and do cargo runs or smuggler missions, which I'm really looking forward to. For me personally, the rest of what Starfield is what Elite Dangerous was missing as a game, so I'm going to really enjoy the cargo part of the ships and the missions in this way. Also, I was correct in saying that the different things you attach and add to your ship makes it able to do different things. They didn't go into great detail on this, but an example was a construction station and a weapon store rack. I'm sure there'll be able to be more, because another thing that they released was how massive you can make your ship, which I'm really happy about. The landing pads in some of the earlier videos made it look quite limiting, so I'm glad that this isn't the case. But even if it was, you can build upwards on your ship for more space, so that could have been a possible workaround. Another interesting thing about the ships we learnt is that you can have more than one. This could be good because you can design a ship for cargo and another for combat. If you know you're going to go to take a mission that needs more maneuverability and firepower over cargo space, you can take that ship. You start off with one default ship and you can customize that one, but at each port you visit you can buy a new ship and customize them as well. This is good because then you can buy a ship that is primarily built for cargo, for example, and then build on top of that. Or you can trade in your old combat ship in for another one that is better, and then build upon that. More on customization is the amount of pieces that you can build your ship with. At first I was worried that the loading bay would only be one type, but we have seen already the different types of examples of all of the building blocks of the ship design. So I can't wait to get my hands on the customization menu and start saving to make the best ship possible. Another thing about ships that they brought up in Starfield Direct was the fact that you can board and disable ships and ransack them and take them as your own to add to your ever-growing fleet. In order to do this, you'll need to unlock a targeting control system skill, which I'll touch on more later. This will allow you to take out specific parts of an enemy ship so you can board it. Something that they're yet to mention is if you can send other ships out on missions, rather than just using one ship as your personal ship at a time, as the others sit there collecting dust, similar to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, where you can collect all of the ships and then send them on missions, and depending on the upgrades, the success of each mission has a percentage. Another thing that they mention about ships is the combat isn't just a matter of shooting your weapons and hoping your shields hold out, but you can now allocate the overall power of your ship to different systems, like weapons, engines and shields. This makes combat more interesting, and if you're out of combat, it means that you can make your ship just that much faster for those cargo runs. There are loads of random and not so random encounters to have in space also, from space stations to massive military ships and other smaller ships that are just minding their own business. You can be that guy and hail any ship you come across and talk to them, or trade, or even, like I said, to be that guy, rob them of their ship and cargo. There hasn't been much more information about the character creation, but there was a reference to an annoying character in a past Bethesda game called the Biggest Fan. This was an example of one of the traits you could have at the start of the game, where you would have a massive fan find you and follow you around. In past videos they have said that you can remove and add traits as you go, but they didn't specify how you would do this. But there was a hint of how to do this in the most recent video, as the player would slowly raise their gun at the superfan as they were staring at the scenery. Think of the bunnies, Lenny. Think of the bunnies. Much like their past games, Bethesda went into more detail about their skill tree, and when you level up you get a skill point that you can then put towards one of 4 trees, which can unlock special abilities like the jetpack during your playthrough. You also have 4 ranks per skill, which you can unlock the more you use them. So for example, the more you use the lockpicking skill, you can level that up to all of the 4 ranks. Similarly to persuasion or stealth. They have said that they have more weapons and mods for this game than they have in any of their other games, which is quite a lot because in Fallout they had already a lot that I couldn't even fully explore myself. So people who like to take a personal touch to their weapons can take their gun apart and put it back together again, but better and more personalised. The weapons look varied and not just futuristic in this game, which I like because it gives them more option to make different types of weapons and not just beam weapons, for example. They have overhauled their combat system as well, due to the gravity being different on each planet. For example, if you're in space and there is no gravity and you use ballistic weapons, this will actually push you back, and you can swap these out for beam weapons and then you'll be fine. The main difference on planets with less gravity is that the ones with less gravity, you'll have more advantages to use your jetpack skill to shoot enemies in the sky that are behind cover. There were brief showing of factions, but no more further details as to how they are ran and the stories that you can get into whilst going down their story arc. But from what we saw and heard, there are certainly factions worth looking into and engaging with. I hope that you can still do what you can do in Skyrim and explore all factions, even ones that are enemies, up until a point where there is an important decision to make which makes you side with one or the other. Rather than just being attacked on sight after you make the decision, like in Fallout, I hope there is more of a verbal acknowledgement from the other faction of their disappointment that you chose the wrong side. Though they didn't show a lot of new info in this event, they did show more details of the things that they have already released, and they even said that there was more stuff that they didn't have time to show, and they had 45 minutes, so God knows what that is. So if they didn't show anything new from now until release, then at least we can rest easy knowing that the game is amazing looking and that there are things that they have left out so that we as players can find them in our brand new gameplay experience. All in all, this event just solidified my thoughts and feelings of this game, and the fact that it's the first game in years that I'm like, hurry up and release it already. I can't wait to see if they release more stuff from now until release, but I hope it's just gameplay that's like 20 minutes long that involves getting a quest, going to your ship and interacting with your crew, and then going to the location that the quest takes place in, and then doing said quest. I really want to see what it looks like going to and from your ship, as I'm a massive fan on small details in games that make you do those small things like boarding your ship manually and not just pushing a button on a menu screen and then hard cutting to a cinematic of your ship undocking from the spaceport. But yeah, I'll leave the video here, and hopefully I'll see you next time with my thoughts and feelings of the actual game. See you then.